I've been looking back at videos from this time last year, and I am encouraged. I have a lot less to do to get this truck ready for the hammers than I did last year at this time when I was doing the front links. I've been hard at work. There's a lot being done. We're very close. I'm starting to tie up loose ends and do some of the fine tuning. I got an action-packed video. I cover a lot of stuff because a lot of stuff is being done. It's gonna be a good time. Give me a subscribe, hit that like button. Let's go get it. Merricks Garage. One last piece of business before I get down to the meat of this video. I have a lot of tools and parts that I'm using in this video, and I often get requested, where did I get that stuff from? So my Amazon store is linked down below. Particularly at the end of the video, you're gonna see that I've started to do my brakes, and I'm doing custom brake lines through everything. And all the parts I use, the individual fittings, the banjos, the bolts, the nuts, all that, I link down below in my Amazon store. So go check it out. Now let's go build some trucks. Just back from picking up some welding supplies and disposables, and I'm gonna finish the rear end. Well, at least get it all bent, tacked, cut, notched, and in place. It's gonna be a busy day. I'll turn the camera on so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Let's go. So I know this doesn't look great because nothing inside, but it's going to be difficult to plug this or to throw a joint in there just because of the way that it is, because of the angle. But this isn't going to be under any particular stress. It gets tied into the roll cage up there, you can see, so I'm not too worried. Just wrapping up, but if you can see behind me, pretty productive. Here, let me grab the light so you guys can see this better. So here's the dilemma. Do I model this one over here identically, or do I do this one as it wants to be? Obviously, in a perfect world, those two would be the same, but unfortunately they're not, and it's lining up differently. That's on me. It's not anything to represent structurally or alignment wise. I mean, it's minor things. I did cheat the hole on this side over quite a bit, and I think that is part of what's playing in. And it's a 30-year-old truck with a homemade frame by a hack mechanic. That could be part of the reason too. Anyway, it's lining up well. I'm happy with it. I mean, you can see here, level. These are gonna get opened up, I believe. And then diving underneath here. I think this is gonna have to get moved over. I think it needs to go lateral about ½ an inch because I'm getting a slight tilt. Yeah. But yeah, super productive. Hammers is looking more and more likely. I don't think I'm gonna have an excuse this year. Fired up. Yep. Right through my glove into my hand. Super glue. Dude. Super glue for the whip. I gotta do a relief cut. That hole's too small. I need to get a bigger hole saw. There's no way around it. But the shocks are lining up well. It's actually off the jack stands amazingly so. I'm gonna throw the wheels back on here and see if I can do anything with ride height real quick. This is cool. This is really cool. You guys got to see this. Pulling both jack stands that have been holding up the frame. So it'll essentially be on the axle and my janky junction. My heart kind of racing. Everything's tacked, so that's my concern. Okay. Wow. We're gonna take a look at it quickly because I want to get a couple of pictures, but I gotta get some jack stands under it. I don't know why. I mean, it's all together. Oh my gosh, that looks good. I just turned around and saw it for the first time. Wow. Yeah. Oh man. I can't believe I built this. So one of the questions I have been getting a lot from most of my SoCal and Southwest brethren is, am I going to be at King of the Hammers? And yes, I'm going to be at King of the Hammers. I say that, but I'm also going to go through my list of what I still have to do. And while it's a lot of stuff, I think I got it. I think I can do this because I do have a lot of the major stuff out of the way, and it's just a lot of finishing up work. But I'm gonna go through the list right now. This is gonna help me strategize and think about what I've still got to do, and also let you guys know where I stand. So here is where I am at, and I've broken it down into basically like 6 or 7 areas. I've got to get the suspension finished. I've got to do the framework, so I've got to tie all in the frame. I've got to do electrical, I've got to do fueling, I've got to do brakes, I've got to do basic maintenance, I've got to do the exhaust, and I got to put on the sway bar. So let's break down each one as to what that means. On the suspension, it's in. I'm pretty sure that it's where it needs to be, but I need to do a relief cut on the hole in the floor that the coilover comes through so I can do full articulation tests with and without tires, with and without bump stops, with and without springs, to see what sort of interference, if any, I get. Once I've done that and I'm happy with how it sets, I can start putting on limit straps, I can put the bump stops in place, and then I can burn in the whole thing and do all the gusset work, do all the welding work, do all the frame tie-in, get that dialed. And that will have my truck back up, strong, ready to go, dialed, good geometry, all that. But that is quite a bit of work. Moving over to my frame. My frame, I've still got to stitch the 2 pieces together. I've got it tacked in place with that 2x2 square tube. I've got to do another one, and then I've got to plate the whole junction box. I've also got to do a relief cut on my cross member that goes under the drive shaft, as that interferes a little bit. I've got to tie the roll cage in. I've got to put all the mounting brackets for the fuel lines and the electrical. Nothing huge there, just I'm putting it all on the list so I know what I'm dealing with. On the fueling, I'm gonna have a little bit of fabrication work to do, as I haven't put the fuel tank in, and it's a whole new frame. So I'm gonna have to fabricate some mounts for that. Shouldn't be too difficult, but I'm just trying to anticipate where I'm gonna run into my challenges. I need to run all the wiring, I need to run all the fuel lines, I need to put the filter back in, I need to plumb it, and I need to put the skid tank in, skid plate in. So that's frame, fuel, suspension, electrical. I've got to finish all the runs. Basically, I've got to terminate all the wires on the vehicle side into a connector that will interface with the wiring harness that I've built for the whole rear end of the truck. I've also got to run some separate wiring for the fueling system, so I need to build that harness. And what else? I'm going to put in a kill switch, another hidden kill switch somewhere, so I've got to do that. I'm not going to tell you guys where, because the internets. But kill switches are very, very good thing to have on your vehicles. Okay, here's where I have to get a little creative. I already used a hole saw to cut through the floor. A hole saw works off a pilot hole that will be drilled into the material that is going to get cut out. So the fact that I've cut it out means that I can't just put a bigger hole saw up against it and hope it's going to work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of sheet over the hole, weigh it down with my railroad tie, and use that as a pilot underneath. I bash my head. Ow! Probably 30 times a day. Okay, my hole saw battle, I won. It's quite a bit bigger of a hole now. So here's full bump. Now I'm not getting full bump because my springs are not binding, my springs are resisting. So as I go up now, yeah, check that. But here's the good story. Everything fits really well there. Everything fits really well there. The challenge I'm having is under full articulation. Essentially, here, I'll show you underneath. So I only have so much room right here. I've already clearanced here, but I'm having some difficulties with getting everything to fit and play nicely. Shocking, I know. What's happening right now is if I go full articulation on the driver's side, full articulation on the driver's side, it drives this spring over here to the point where it almost interferes. But the bigger issue is when I go full articulation on this side, the spring seems to bind. Not really sure what to do at this point other than keep clearancing. Well, maybe it's not as much of an issue as I thought. What I've been doing is I've been running articulation tests with the coils out. Well, the spring's out, but the coil's in. Just the body itself, and that's when I run into issues. But the truth is gonna be, the springs are gonna coil bind. Well, not coil bind, because that's bad, but the spring's gonna resist this thing going all the way up, and then you can see here, I still do have a fair amount of clearance. Not a ton, but enough. And the same over here. Yeah, I'm just gonna flip it here and try the other side. Now I've got a long way to go for full articulation still, but this is what starts to... Whoops. Where's that interfering? Okay, so I need clearance here. Yeah, but that's working. Here's the thing, it's nothing major, it's hitting the floor. So if I need to keep clearance in the floor, I'll keep clearance in the floor. But yeah. Overall, I think what I'm going to try and do right now is put these coil springs at ride height. See how that looks. It's time to start burning some of these joints in. So I've gone ahead and hit them. This guy is fantastic for removing mill scale and anything else, and check it out. So these are all ready to get burned in. They've already been hit with acetone. They've been brought down to bare. And I'm just gonna dial in the welder. I've got this piece I'm just gonna work off real quick and see if I can get a good weld going on this. And just get my temperature and speed and everything all the way it should be. So I'm gonna weld this up. I'll bring it back and show you guys how bad it was. And we'll proceed. That was first pass, I believe. Oh, was that? That was first pass, I think. So that came out the best. This was just a no weave, just a drag or a push. I'm gonna do one more here. Bring up the wire just slightly. Well, my welds have definitely improved. They're still a little lumpy sometimes, but whatever. Here you go. Ooh, that one looked particularly good. Ooh. Luckily it's one you can see too. I could lie to you guys and tell you I'm gonna finish these up and power sand them or grind them down and make them look pretty, but that would be a lie. Because I just want to get this thing back on the road and make it to hammers. That's what I'm gonna do. Really, really cool moment here after I burned everything in, lifted it up to try and check how things were sitting, and I was stoked to see that it was almost perfect. It does have some slight deviation that I'm going to be able to correct with the links, but man, does it look good. I mean, that's only my opinion, but no one calls their own baby ugly, right? The links are off a little bit, so it is a little bit passenger side. Width-wise, it's kind of hard to tell. And nothing's really level yet, because the driveway I don't think is level. I burned in a lot of it. The links underneath are half an inch longer on the driver's side than they are on the passenger, which is pushing the links passenger side, which is meaning that the tire is sitting outboard. So I'm going to lengthen the passenger side half an inch, both upper and lower links. That should center the axle. Ride height, I'm going to have to adjust. They're pretty close. But I think this is actual ride height. What do you guys think? Does it look level? Yeah.
There's a couple things that make the 14-bolt full floater such a popular axle. It's plentiful, it's super burly, it's got a giant ring gear, and it is full floating. Full floating means that the axle is not carrying any of the load. The load's carried by the hub and the spindle. The axle shaft, which is spun off of the differential, is free floating, meaning that it comes in and out and is not carrying load. Therefore, it's not under any excess strain, and its sole purpose is torque transmission.
The brake stuff arrived yesterday and is starting to get plumbed in. This is a lot of fun. It's pretty easy to do. The hardest part is finding all the correct fittings. So I've linked everything down below in my Amazon store, but you can see it's all gonna be nice and clean. This is gonna get routed up higher, a little bit out of the way. Banjo bolt braided line, straight to a -3 AN fitting into this 3/16 stainless line that I've just wrapped with this wire guard. It's gonna have a flex line up here onto the link arm, solid line all the way back to the frame, another flex line down there joining over the frame, and then hard line up to the master.
The brake stuff is quite a bit of fun because it really, it bends easily, it shapes well, it looks good, and it moves fairly quickly. So unlike everything else on this truck, you can get stuff done and feel very, very accomplished in a short amount of time. So the biggest challenge I've run into is just figuring out all the pieces that fit together. Do you want a 3/8 National Course 24? Do you want a -3 AN? Do you want a single flare versus a double flare? I can go into all that later for you guys. I have put a lot of these parts in my Amazon store. For my own sanity, it helps me to go back and see what I used, but also to help you guys out. So many of the tools that I use, if I find something cool or some of the parts that I end up using, I just stick down in the Amazon store. I'll link it again. It's really helpful. I get a little bit of money from it that helps me to buy more stuff to get this thing back on the road and back to hammers. That's it for this week. I'll have more coming at you soon. Keep wrenching. Merricks Garage.